Right, so welcome in. A lot of people joining here. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Just want to share with you guys, the online store is closed. We finally got our warehouse dialed in. So now everything's being shipped to the warehouse. So it should be about a week. If you need to order something, we might be able to get you something if it's within the kit, but if it's other stuff like the sleep or the greens or something like that, you're going to have to wait a week to order anything. But we're almost done with that side of things. Hopefully that's been a big project Dr. Infantino has been working on. So anyway, any wins this week that you want to share moving forward? It's hard to tell if you guys are even in the room. If you guys want to unmute and share, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, if you want to mute, if you have dogs or people in the background, sometimes it gets a little bit, I get a little bit of feedback from that. But otherwise, feel free to unmute and turn your camera on and join the party.
I'll share my win, Tammy.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm on day 76, so that's a win all by itself.
Yes, it is.
And I've released 30 pounds so far, so I'm doing okay.
I would say better than okay. Better than okay.
Yes.
Well, and you suited up and you showed up. You came to these calls, you participated, you asked questions, you turned your stuff in each week. You did a great job with your tracking. So it's just one foot in front of the other. I know it's for the new people, it seems daunting and overwhelming, and we tend to overthink stuff, but it's one meal at a time. Write it down, one meal at a time, and just keep on going. But by showing up to these calls, hopefully it gives you little nuggets and helpful information to hopefully my dream for you, it just becomes easier and easier as you plug along and you know move forward in the program. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You bet.
Great.
I'm gonna eat my lunch, so I won't be on camera.
Oh,
Sorry, because that might get crazy.
all right. Well, lucky you. Lucky you. Awesome. All right. So we got a good group here today. So welcome in. I'll go ahead and put my PowerPoint on here. How do I do this?
I was gonna say, I've never looked forward to vegetables so much in my life as eating vegetables tomorrow after the detox.
Awesome. They're going to taste so good. You're going to have new love for vegetables. I love that. Well, congratulations making it through.
Yeah, down 13 pounds in 13 days, I think.
Damn, that's a win. That's a huge win. Congratulations on that.
The scale's first number is 1. I'm like, wow. I never thought I'd see a 2 as the first number of the scale, so it's been a battle.
Oh, that is a big milestone. Congratulations. That's huge. I love that for you. Thank you for sharing that. That's so awesome. Goosebumps. Very cool. Very cool. All right. So today we're talking about gut, liver, hormones, parasites, detoxification, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm going to kind of dive into that and hopefully tie them all together. But there's toxins everywhere. They say there's over 700, we're exposed to over 700 toxins every day. And that's from breathing the air to pesticides and herbicides and the plastics leaching into our water bottles and perfumes and skincare and deodorant and parabens and all these food additives and dyes and all sorts of things. So we want to talk about, I'm going to talk about some detox today as well. And most of our toxins are primarily stored in our fat cells, but they're stored in other parts of the body as well, in our lymph system. also in the brain and in the muscles and in other organs. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff, sort of stuff. There's what did I write here? Where is it? Oh, there's 400 to 800 toxins in each and every one of our cells. So as you guys go through this program and you detoxify, those things are going to be pulled out from those cells. So that's a good thing, which is why we experience the healing crisis, which if you're not familiar with that, you can read about that starting on page 11, 12, 13, something like that. But your body's going through a lot where the supplements are pulling the toxins from your body. You're not eating or drinking some of the stuff that cause the toxicity. So your body's going through some changes. So the healing crisis may be a real thing for you, but you can read more about that in the book starting on page 11. So, all right. So today we're going to go talk about, we have some shout outs and some welcomes to cleanse or not to cleanse, as I mentioned. We're going to go over how the digestive system works and what happens when it's off and how to correct it. I'm going to go over liver health and weight loss, parasites and hormones and weight loss. And of course, there's always time for Q&A at the very end. So I happen to have some visuals. I don't get these very often, but a couple of my clients, past clients, they're coming in, welcome in. Both graduates, I've coached both of these ladies. So they are looking super, super awesome. They both did so very well. I do have a few others. Wendy, she just finished her program. She's done with the program and she is off her thyroid meds. So this is a very important thing. That's not an easy one to do. Carrie is down 18 inches and 23 pounds, but 18 inches is a lot, you guys. That's really, really awesome. Lee is now cooking and involving her kids who are teenagers and actually are loving and appreciating that mom is cooking. Her past habits was more of a fast food person and she's cooking and this is really and she's embracing it and she's leaning in. So I'm happy for her family because the kids are leaning in too, which is rare. A lot of times the family can be kind of an obstacle for us. So congratulations to Lee, whose kids are excited about it. Christine is down 22 pounds. Bobby, I already mentioned that, she's down 30 pounds. So congratulations to you, Bobby. Linda, she's a graduate, so it doesn't happen in 84 days, but Linda is down 90 pounds, 90, and she's still coming to these calls, you guys. So just because you get your 12 weeks under your belt, doesn't mean you have to stop. I say, keep going, keep learning, keep growing, keep evolving, and we're always becoming a little bit better as we go through life. So she started last June and here we are in May and she's still going. So that's about a year now. Beth wore clothes she hasn't worn in years. So that's super exciting. That's just I just know how that feels. And that is the best feeling. So I want to welcome in some new people. We've got Erin, Roxanne, Andrea, Kathy, two Lisas, Connie, Brianna, Cynthia, Dyson, Charlotte, Angela, Rosella, Regina, and Marcy. So welcome to all of my new people. So first of all, are we toxic? How do we know? Brain fog, that's one of them. Brain fog, fatigue, that's a huge sign of toxicity, especially liver toxicity. Blurred vision or just really unclear vision. I know when I do a cleanse, my vision becomes clearer and the colors become more bright. So if you're brand new, this might be a side effect that is going to be super awesome. I just appreciate that when I get there because it's not always easy to eliminate all of our favorite things. So when you do, and a lot of our energy comes back and our brain gets clear and our vision gets clear, it's a pretty cool thing. Our gut gets better, gas, bloating, constipation, a lot of those things will go away, or at least we'll see some improvement. Headaches is a really big one of those healing crisis symptoms. So that's a real common one, especially for my coffee drinkers. Those of you coming off coffee, please do yourself a favor and come off your coffee slow. Because like me, when I tried to cold turkey it after my habit was 3 cups a day, and I would just drink 3 cups every morning, and I'm like, well, I'll just stop doing it. And no, don't do that. You can start the program, even if you're not completely off of coffee, just you want to be off of coffee before you get to the cleanse. That would be kind of a guideline for you. Bad skin, itchy skin, dull skin, rashes, eczema, psoriasis. A lot of those things can be related to toxicity and specifically liver, especially. Also, yes, toxicity can affect your sleep as well. When your adrenals are jacked up, when your thyroid is jacked up, it really can affect your sleep. So, to cleanse or not to cleanse, I say let's do it. All right, so how did we get toxic? So many different ways. Yes, there's alcohol, really, really tough on the liver. Tylenol or acetaminophen, which is the generic name. Tylenol is just the name brand. We don't want to pick on Tylenol, but it's any of the acetaminophen or ibuprofens. That's the number one people go into the hospital for liver poisoning. You would think it would be the alcohol, but the number one is actually the acetaminophen poisoning. And it's often with the kids because you get these baby Tylenols that taste like candy, and it's easy to overeat them. So please, if you have little kids, make sure they're out of reach because they're very, very, very toxic. And just like the picture would indicate, the pesticides that's on our foods, the heavy metals, there's heavy metals just kind of everywhere, but often you find that in tuna, some of our fish. So we'll talk about that. Sugar and high fructose corn syrup is very, very, very toxic for the liver, among other things in the body. I've done a whole entire week talking about the problems that sugar brings to your life. So if we're going to have a cheat day, make sure it's not with sugar. We don't want to bring sugar back. It's just, this is how we get fatty liver. You would think fats, the bad fats, which is also not going to help your liver either. But if we're having too many things with high fructose corn syrups, like sodas and salad dressing and marinades, and just so many canned goods and pre-made bottled sauces, a lot of them have high fructose corn syrup. A lot of them have those sugars in there. So this is another way we build up toxicity. Personal care products. Your deodorant has aluminum in it, which is connected to Alzheimer's or dementia. We've got parabens in our skincare. We've got perfumes in our shampoos and in our lotions. Just so many different kinds of makeup. So there's an app called Yucca, Y-U-K-A, and it's a little carrot. And so if you have a personal care product like a lotion, you can scan it with that using the app, and it can tell you on a scale whether it's good or bad. So it gives it a scale from 0 to 100. So you can kind of make a determination. But we're putting this stuff on our bodies every day. And like that stat I read at the beginning, we're exposed to over 700 toxins every day. And a lot of it can come from personal care products, in addition to our foods. Just breathing. We can live a really super healthy lifestyle, but if we live in a city, especially a bigger city, where there's any kind of smog, if you live on a mountaintop where there's hardly any cars, probably not going to be as big of a problem as it is for people living in bigger cities, like New York and LA and even Phoenix here. The sky can turn quite gray. All right, so let's talk about the digestive system and how it should work. So the digestive process actually starts with our senses. It starts with our eyes. It starts with our smell. Even hearing something sizzling or hearing the sound of some kind of package opening up. I used to get triggered by the sound of a bag of chips opening up. So, it doesn't start in the body. It starts from outside the body with some of our senses. We see something that looks good. We smell something that looks good. We hear something that triggers a sound that we know it was good last time we had something like that. So that's where it starts. And then we start to salivate, and that's the starting of the process. Some of the digestive enzymes start in the mouth, particularly the enzymes that break down carbohydrates. And that starts in the mouth. We chew, and then we swallow, goes into the stomach. We've got what's called a pyloric sphincter right there, which closes off the esophagus to the stomach. So we shouldn't have food coming back up into the esophagus. It's not always the case, but I'm going through in a perfect world what it should look like. So that little sphincter closes, and then the stomach will activate certain acids, the hydrochloric acid, which is there to kill any bad bacteria so we don't get food poisoning. And it works most of the time, obviously not 100% of the time. Also, enzymes are excreted here in the stomach. And both of those things help break down the stomach, and it turns into like a froth or whatever. I think it's called bolus. And once it turns into kind of a liquid, or like a bubbly liquid, then it will begin to go into the small intestine. And this is where we start to absorb some of the vitamins in the small intestine. At this point, the pancreas is going to release some of the insulin, and that's going to help get those sugars into the cells where they're supposed to go, because we don't want sugars running rampant. Sugar is a toxin, but we need to get them into the cells, because if they don't go into the cells, they are trouble. They are toxic, and they cause problems in the body, all kinds of problems. So we go through the small intestines. Again, we're absorbing more vitamins, more enzymes are produced in the small intestines as well. Finally, the food will end up in the large intestines, or the colon. Some of the vitamins are absorbed here, but at this point, we're just forming our bowel movement in here. And then our nerves tell us, hey, it's time to go. We feel that sensation, hey, it's time to go. And then out it goes. So that's what a perfect world would look like. But if it's messed up, if it's jacked up, sometimes by the time we swallow our food, it goes into the stomach. If the pyloric sphincter here is not working very well, it's not closed, the food wants to go back up, especially if we're not producing enough hydrochloric acid or enough enzymes. The food knows it needs to get out of the stomach, but it tries to go the wrong way. This is how we get acid reflux. Eventually, it might come down into the small intestine, but because the food hasn't been broken down efficiently enough, we're not having enough acids and we're not having enough enzymes, the pancreas, which excretes the insulin, which is your fat storage hormone, thinks that it's more food. It doesn't understand it's the same amount of food, it's just not broken down enough. So it's pumping more and more and more fat storage hormone into the body. And here we're trying to diet and exercise our way into weight loss. But if our digestive system isn't working right and our fat storage hormone is going wild and crazy, you can't beat that. You cannot fight with the fat storage hormones. Are very, very powerful, as we know. When they're off, we're off. So when the pancreas starts pumping too much insulin, then it puts us in a fat storage mode. And then we don't digest our food very well. We're not absorbing the vitamins very well because it didn't get broken down correctly. And so we're not going to get the benefits of the food. We're not going to get the nourishment. We're not going to get the vitamins. We're not going to get the antioxidants. And then we're just going to have more cravings for more food because we didn't get the nourishment that we need. So that's kind of the digestive system in a pinch, or in a nutshell. So how can we correct the gut and get the gut back to normal? Well, we want to get that good normal flora going. Normal flora just means normal bacteria, the good bacteria. We want the good guys. Just like in any war, there's the good guys and their bad guys. So we want to make sure we build up enough of the good guys so they can combat the bad guys. So what are some things we can do? Here we go again. Decreasing the sugar. Sugar is what the bad guys consume. So if you find yourself craving sugars a lot, it could be a result of too many bad guys, the candidas, the bad bacteria in the gut. They're just trying to survive. So they're telling us, eat some sugar, feed us, eat some sugar, feed us, eat some sugar, feed us. So it's challenging at first. I know if you have a sugar addiction, or high fructose corn syrup, same thing, only high fructose corn syrup is more addictive. If you're craving sugars, it could be because there's too much bad gut bacteria. We got to kind of suck it up for those first few days, but it can go away. It can go away. Antibiotics also kill the good guys in the gut. So I'm not going to tell you not to do what your doctor has said. If you have a urinary tract infection or you have dental work and your doctors are telling you to take an antibiotic, we've got to follow that advice because those things could go all kinds of wrong if we don't. But if you take an antibiotic, we've got to combat that with some probiotics. Alcohol also affects the bacteria in the gut, so we want to decrease that. Genetically modified organisms and pesticides and chemicals and dyes, man-made chemicals, all the things. If you're eating colored foods, if they're blue and red and fluorescent yellow, looks like it would glow in the dark, it's probably a dye, and it's really, really, really bad for the gut. And the gut is related to our mood and anxiety and depression and basically our disposition, which is why those dyes are so bad, because they really do affect our mood and our attitude. Artificial sweeteners like the Equal, pictured here, those really do affect the bad bacteria, the Equal, the Splenda, the saccharins. We got to get rid of those guys. Stress. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, how stress affects the gut. So what can we do to improve the gut health? Well, we want to feed it the good stuff, AKA also known as a high fiber diet. Pretty much everything you see in this picture in the lower right corner. Get a variety of vegetables. That's where your fiber is going to be. Get your colors. Get your red bell peppers, your purple cabbage, your dark greens, your yellow vegetables, your orange vegetables. Get the varieties. Get as many different ones as you can, but that's where your fiber is. And that's what's going to feed the good bacteria in the gut. Fasting can also be really, really good for the gut. There's often, they say there's between 5 and 25 pounds of sludge in the gut. And if we fast, like we have you guys do, the body is forced to eat or push out that old, sick, and dead cells. So by that lemon drink, very, very good for pushing it out. But by fasting, it cleans up all that mess. So fasting can be very good on occasion, not on a regular basis. If you're intermittent fasting and not eating till 2 o'clock in the afternoon every single day, then the body does adapt and it's not going to do you the favors. If you're fasting on occasion, it's going to do you a huge favor. Fermented foods. This is what puts the good bacteria in the gut. Things like apple cider vinegar with water, starting your day off with that. Sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, those kinds of good fermented foods are very, very good. Losing weight, also probiotics. Probiotics, which is part of your program anyway. But weight loss can, all that excess fat, it's very, very hard on especially belly fat, because the fat is putting pressure on your vital organs. And your vital organs are all right here in the middle, especially your gut, all of your gut. So if we can lose a few pounds, it's going to be better for your gut. So we will have less bloating, have less issues. All right, so let's go back to that stress issue. Excuse me. We have an autonomic nervous system, and we need both for survival. We need both. But I wanted to kind of talk about this a little bit because so many of us are in so much stress. So we have the sympathetic nervous system, and this is when you are in fight or flight. And it's very, very important. If you're standing in front of a bear who's showing you his pretty smile, like the bear in this picture, you need to be prepared for fight or flight. So the heart rate will increase. It will prepare your body to either fight that bear or run from that bear, whatever the case may be. Your blood pressure will increase so that you're able to get the blood to where it needs to go. Your breathing increases so that you have the oxygen and the energy. Your pupil size increases so that you're able to see anything else that's going to bring you danger. And here's the thing, here's the problem. For most of us, if we're in a constant state of fight or flight, your digestion and your immune system will basically stop. Because right now, so for example, if you had a meal and your body is in the middle of digesting it, and now you see the bear, the body it needs to put 100% of its energy on getting safe from that bear. That bear is a far bigger threat than than trying to be busy digesting the food. You won't ever, if you're in fight or flight, if you're crossing the street and you see a truck coming at you, you're not thinking about having to go to the bathroom. You're not digesting your food, and your body isn't trying to fight off a little flu bug, because that is not the biggest threat. This bear or that truck that's coming to hit you in the street is definitely the bigger threat. So all of these things stop or slow down. But again, if we're in a constant state of stress or in a constant state of fight or flight, this is how the gut gets really jacked up. The glucose production is what happens because the liver stores glucose for energy. The glucose is your energy source, and it's getting you ready to either fight or run. So now you've got all this glucose running rampant in the body. Glucose is another name for sugar. And what have I said? The sugar is the enemy. So if you're in a constant state of releasing the glucose from the liver because your body thinks you're in danger, and you need to be in fight or flight, this is a very unhealthy place to stay. It's a very healthy place to be if you're standing in front of that bear. But if your bear is not really there anymore, and we're still in that tense place, just like I said, the liver activates the energy stores. That's the glucose production. That's what that is. All right, so the parasympathetic. So say, for example, we see the bear, we run away, the bear is gone. Okay, we're back. We should be able to come back to the parasympathetic system. Now we're in rest and digest. We're no longer in fight or flight. This is how it should be. This is how it should be. Some of us stay on the left column way too long. But if we're safe from the bear, or we're safe, we cross the street and the truck is gone, we're not going to get hit by the truck or the bus or whatever. The heart rate will come down. Pupils get back to normal. Now you can start to digest. Your immune function starts to work. Oh, all of a sudden now you realize, oh, that's right, I do have to go to the bathroom. I do have to pee. Just the normal stuff. Things go back to normal. We're in rest and urine secretion, as I mentioned. So we want to be able to practice getting over to this place, how you feel, by looking at this picture in the bottom right corner with this beautiful turquoise ocean. And this is where, meditation and some other spiritual practices can be very helpful. If you find yourself living in this very tense, cortisol-driven place, which is causing problems, this is how our gut gets jacked up if we don't manage our stress. All right, so let's move on to the liver. All right. All right, so how do we know if our liver is toxic? Fatigue, as I mentioned, the fatigue is probably the number one thing that you might notice if your liver is toxic. I can tell you when I did the cleanse the first time around, I had no idea how tired I was until I did the 6-week program, Dr. Infantino's 6-week, and my energy was through the roof. I had no idea how tired I was till I wasn't tired anymore. If you're having trouble losing weight, it's just really stubborn. Your liver is the only organ in the human body. Your liver is the only organ in the human body that metabolizes fat. So if it's so busy trying to be the filter for the body, it cannot metabolize the fat. So you're going to have a whole lot of trouble losing the weight. If you have any kind of digestive disruptions, gas, bloating, especially because your liver is what produces the bile, which is what breaks down fats. And then you have a gallbladder, which is the bladder that holds the bile and it breaks down fats. But if all of that is jacked up and you're not breaking down the fats, this is what can cause a lot of gas and bloating. So that's all connected. It's all coming back to the liver. Brain fog, definitely. If you can't pull words out, like you're trying to say a word and it just doesn't come, that could be a symptom of a toxic liver. Water retention, itching or other skin issues, and even a little further into a really toxic liver could be like a jaundice. If your skin has a yellowish tint or the whites of your eyes turn a little bit yellow, that's a serious indicator that your liver is off. But even other skin issues, as I mentioned, kind of a dull skin. When I did the cleanse the last time, I really noticed my skin was a whole lot better. So doing a cleanse like what we offer you guys, you might notice, I know a lot of my clients comment about their skin. So dark urine, that could mean several things. Could mean you're not drinking enough water, but it could also mean that you're toxic as well. And as I mentioned, the blurry vision, do the cleanse and you watch, and I can't promise or guarantee any of these things, but a lot of people come back and report that it's different. It's clearer and it's just crispier and colors are a little brighter. So what can we do? Consuming some cleansing foods. I'm going to go over those in just a minute, especially the greens, the dark greens that are high in chlorophyll. That's your cleansing compound. Drinking your water. I know a lot of people complain about, I can drink a gallon of water every day. I know that's hard. I know how hard that is. When my coach told me to drink a gallon of water when I was doing the competition, I thought she was nuts. And I was not a good water drinker. And it was hard. But I had to set it on the counter and I just had to make an intention to every time I walked by that thing, pick it up and take a big giant guzzle, guzzle, guzzle. But it helps flush the liver out. It helps flush the urinary tract out. It helps flush the kidneys out. Someone's asking, where do I find the replays? Well, you're on the call live, but the replays are in the group. The replays are in the group. So the Facebook group and then the other new group. Now, Facebook is going to be phased out. So I want you guys to practice getting over to the new group. And it's going to be super, super, super easy to find the topics that you want. So great question. Thank you for asking. Here we go again, eliminating high fructose corn syrup and other sugars. Sugars is what causes fatty liver. You would think it's fats, although if you're eating fried foods like onion rings and fried, deep fried battered fish that's fried in those bad soybean kind of oils, those can really jack up the liver too. But sugars is the number one thing that will cause, because the excess sugars get stored as triglycerides in the liver. And that's how we get fatty liver. And guess what? Fatty liver is the first step in, well, inflammation is first, then fatty liver, and then it can lead to cirrhosis, which is not correctable. Fatty liver is absolutely fixable. And if you guys are in this program, follow along, do your very best not to cheat, especially with sugar, because that's how we're going to correct it. That's how we're going to fix that liver. And fatty liver really doesn't have a lot of symptoms. You might be tired and you might have a little brain fog, but that might feel like you're normal. A lot of people don't even realize it doesn't have to be your normal. So avoiding sugars like the plague, because it's very, very toxic. I cannot stress that enough. And I know sugar, especially high fructose corn syrup, is the number one, it's probably the number one hardest addiction to overcome. So I'm not trying to make light of that. I understand that. But I'm trying to give you a different perspective when you're tempted to have the sugar, is to understand what it's doing in your body. And it's jacking up your liver. And it's setting you up for diabetes for sure. Eliminating fatty and processed foods, as I mentioned. Like I said, those fried foods, margarine, things like that. That's soybean oil, but safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola, vegetable oil. Those are terrible for your liver. And then there's a lot of supplements that you can take that help promote liver health. I take an NAC every day to help my liver. NAC is for N-acetylcholine, but you can buy it when you buy it at the store or online, it's just NAC. And what's good about that is it helps the body produce glutathione, which is the body's antioxidant, and it specifically cleans the liver. Now, the body makes its own glutathione. So if you take a pill that says it's a glutathione pill, it kind of gets destroyed in the digestive process. But if you take certain supplements like NAC or curcumin, which is like turmeric, dandelion root, beetroot, all of these things can help produce glutathione in the body, which helps clean up the liver. I'm going to go into the liver in a deep dive tomorrow. So if liver is something you really want to know more about, tune in for tomorrow, or be sure to watch the replay that will be loaded up to the group. Also limiting Tylenol, acetaminophen, ibuprofens. Those, like I mentioned, are pretty tough on the liver. I don't want you, if you guys are in the beginning in the healing crisis, if you need to take something, I don't want you to be so miserable, take it, but make sure you're drinking lots of water, and then maybe taking some supplements that boost the glutathione to kind of counteract it, and then drink lots of water. Also limiting alcohol as well. That's a no-brainer, we know that. All right, so your top cleansing foods, cruciferous veggies, which is basically your broccoli, your cauliflower, kale, arugula, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. Picture in this greens, those are cruciferous. Dark green leafies, spinach. Romaine is very, very, very nutritious, and it's really underrated. It's one of the more nutritious greens, and it's pretty common. Most restaurants serve it. So when you get a chance, if they're serving a potato or rice with the entree, swap it out for a green salad, and you're doing your liver a favor. Citrus fruits, grapefruit, orange, lime, lemons. This is why we have you drinking that lemonade. If you start your day with a lemon water, the juice of half a lemon and some water, that absolutely will kickstart the cleansing process for your liver. It's a great way to start your day, even if you're not on lemonade days. And we do recommend fresh squeeze, not the store-bought. Asparagus is very good for cleansing, especially the urinary tract. Onions, they are like magnets to the toxins, and then they pull them out of your body. Blueberries, this bright color, there's so many benefits to the blueberries. They're low in sugar, they're high in fiber, they're high in antioxidants, they're high in resveratrol, so which is antioxidants, good for your heart. Very, very good. Walnuts, excellent. Olive oil, very good for the body, very good for the liver. And beets are just really good for the liver. I would say if you are going to put like a fresh beet in a smoothie, don't do a whole beet. I would say do like a fourth or a third at a time, because it is very, very detoxifying for the liver. And if you're detoxified too quick, it could make you nauseous. And I know that from experience. I've done it. So just go slow. You can work your way up to a whole beet if you want to. But beets have a lot of health benefits. They're high in sugar, and that's why they're in the carbohydrate category. So you want to limit them. You don't want more than a small one beet, but they are beneficial. So if you can put them in your salad, do so. Artichokes, also, especially Jerusalem artichoke, very, very, very good for your liver. All right, so next up, we've got parasites. And I wanted to throw this one in. Somebody, on the weekly check-in sheets, I ask you guys if you are coming to these calls or if you're listening to the replays. And then I also ask you, is there a topic that you'd like? So someone wanted more information on parasites. So I thought it would go good in with the gut liver category. So here you are. So thank you for whoever suggested this. I think it's a great idea. Someone's asking, and remember that you ate beets, so you won't be alarmed when it comes back out. Yes, it can change the color of your urine or your bowel movement. It can make them more red. She's right. That's right. It can, and asparagus can change the smell of your pee as well. So don't be alarmed. That means it's working. It's not everybody though. You have to have a certain chemistry for the asparagus to cause that. But the beets do change the color for sure. Some of the symptoms, and there's so many different parasites, you guys. There's everything from bed bugs to lice to mosquitoes to fleas. There's so many different ones, but there's also the ones that we can get from water, from contaminated food, from undercooked pork, from sushi, from farm-raised fish, from the soil if you're in an area where there are parasites. It can get through, they can come right through your skin. But some symptoms are digestive issues, abdominal pain, diarrhea, random nausea, anemia, or if low energy is a very strong sign of anemia. Obviously, it's bad liver too, but if you really have trouble with your energy, it could be anemia. Inflamed joints, muscles, skin bumps, hives, tracts, or itchy skin, or anal itching, if it's a certain parasites, chronic fatigue, fever or flu symptoms, random, swollen lymph nodes, night sweats. This is starting to sound like menopause, isn't it? Cramps or dysmenorrhea, and increased appetite. And it could be weight gain or weight loss. Depends on which parasite it is. Just depends on the parasite. So just wanted to be aware of that. Some of the solutions. This program has a lot of the herbs that can combat parasites. So yes, does this program address parasites? Yes, it does. But some other things that you can take as well. In my vitamin store, I used to have parasite cleansing kits, and wormwood was in all of them. So if you think you might have a parasite, you might do a parasite cleanse in addition, and wormwood would be one of the things you include. I would say include a bunch of them so that they all kind of work together. Ginger. Ginger is another one that can help with parasites. Black walnut, garlic, oregano oil. Oregano oil is amazing. That's nature's antibiotic, antifungal, anti-parasite, just antibacterial, all of those sorts, antiviral. So it's basically nature's antibiotic. Cloves. I'll tell you what, if I do go out for a sushi type of restaurant, I'll take a clove because I happen to have some. I'll take a clove supplement before I go and when I go home. Cayenne pepper, the parasites apparently don't like that either. So there's are some ideas. Oh, and the lemons, like I said, starting the day with lemon has many, many, many benefits. Many, many benefits. Cleans out the gut, it cleans out the intestines. It obviously can help with parasites and it will cleanse your liver. So lemon is good. All right, next up, we're talking about hormones. Where's my little cheat sheet on that? I talked at length about hormones yesterday. So if you want a deeper dive on that, we'll go into it. Where did I put that? This is my Wednesday notes. Oh, right here. All right, so insulin, number one, this is, as I mentioned at the beginning, in your digestive system. If your body is not breaking down your food, when it goes into the intestines, the pancreas thinks there's more food, so it's going to pump more insulin. But insulin is your fat storage hormone. So we want to control this. Insulin is a hormone, so we want to be able to control it. The best way to control your insulin, aside from getting your gut corrected and getting those digestive enzymes back to normal and being able to digest and break down your food within the gut, another way to control your insulin is by choosing the right foods, choosing lower glycemic foods. So I forget which module it is. I believe it's module, I want to say module 3 or 4. It's module 3. It's module 3. I talk about how to correct the insulin, but if you got your fat burning zone here and your fat storage zone up here, and down here you're hungry. If I eat a high glycemic food like bread or white rice or tortillas, it's going to spike my blood sugars up, which spikes my insulin levels up. I've bypassed the fat burning zone and went straight into the fat storage zone. When I go up fast like that, it plummets fast like that back down. Guess what? I just bypassed fat burning again. Darn it. And then when I get back down here at the bottom, I'm hungry. And so I eat again, whether I need food or not, because I feel hungry. And I spike it up again because I'm eating higher glycemic foods. You know, like I said, the rices and the pastas and the breads, the dinner rolls, the pastries, the sweets, the desserts, boom, bypass that fat burning zone right into fat storage. So by eating lower glycemic foods, in which is all carbs, you know, your proteins don't have a glycemic index and your fats don't have a glycemic index, but your carbs do. So you want something with a 55 or lower. And that's going to land you right in that middle, that fat burning zone. And that's going to be your vegetables, most all of your vegetables. Some veggies like the beets, like your winter squash, like yams or sweet potatoes, those are going to go into the carb category, but they're lower on the glycemic. So but we still want to keep them in portion control. So keep them in half a cup, but that way we manage the insulin levels. And if we're loading up on our proteins and veggies, we're not going to spike those insulin levels up fast. We're going to end up right into that fat burning zone, which is exactly where we want to be. So that's one of the ways we can manage our insulin levels. Cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and it affects your adrenals, and which relates to your thyroid, which relates to your weight management, your ability to lose weight or not. So cortisol, like we talked about, when we're in fight or flight, when we're in that sympathetic nervous system, when we're on the go, running from the bear, or running out of the street from that bus that's about to run us down, we have those higher levels of cortisol, which is your belly fat hormone. And we need cortisol because we need to get out of that street. We need to get away from that bear. But we can't stay there for too long. So being able to manage your stress and getting back into that parasympathetic nervous system, back to how we feel when we're on that beach with that beautiful turquoise ocean, will help us control our weight as well. Ghrelin and leptin, I'm going to put those two together. These are hormones. The ghrelin is what's going to tell you when to eat or when you're hungry. And the leptin is what's going to tell you when you're full. And when one is off, the other is off. So sometimes I have clients who tell me they are never hungry. I have clients who tell me they are always hungry. So it just, if one is off, the other is off. Oops. I'm still talking about these two anyways. But ghrelin and leptin, one of the ways that we can control these two is by having a protein first thing in the morning and having a protein at each meal. That is one good way to, because it regulates your blood sugars, like I said, and it keeps the blood sugar stable, so we're not pumping up those blood sugars, so we're not feeling hungry by having those blood sugars plummet. Also, sleep has a big effect on the ghrelin and the leptin. And you guys have probably all experienced this. When we have a horrible night's sleep, and it only takes one night of a bad night's sleep, we either went to bed too late or we just tossed and turned because we're thinking about something going on in our life, or somebody was snoring, or for whatever reason we didn't sleep. The next day we wake up and we want to eat. I want to sometimes eat my left arm. And when I'm craving things, and studies show people that have lack of sleep are not only just craving more foods, but they're craving the carbs and the comfort foods and the stuff that's going to spike our blood sugars, and it's going to put us into fat storage. So it's real important that we really try our best to get enough sleep. That's really hugely important. Not watching TV right before bed, having a very dark room, having the room being very cool. If you are to look at a device like a phone or an iPad or a TV, put those blue light glasses on so it doesn't affect your brain, because the lights from these devices tell the brain that it's daylight and it's time to wake up. If you want to get a good circadian rhythm going, first thing upon sunrise, or when you wake up, when the sun comes out, get 10 minutes of sun. It tells you it's time to start the day and wake up. When you get into that very dark place, it triggers the melatonin, it's the sleep hormone, to go, and then it'll help you sleep better. So getting a good circadian rhythm will help you, and getting a sleep routine. Because if you're all over the place, I go to bed at 9, I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's going to affect your hunger hormones, and that's not good. Estrogen is stored in our fat cells. So as we start to lose fat cells, or as our fat cells are shrinking, we may notice some estrogen surges in the body, but estrogen can be the one responsible for gaining weight. When we're going through menopause and the body's looking for estrogen, like, hey, where's estrogen? Well, it knows that it's stored in the fat cells. So it makes more fat cells, which is why we tend to gain weight. So we want to be able to manage that. Oops. Awesome. All right. So just as a recap, you want to detox your mind and your body. So managing your stress is going to be very important for your gut. Killing the bad guys, the bad bacteria in the gut, feeding the good guys in the gut, keeping your liver clean, cleaning out the parasites, and keeping your hormones balanced. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, chat. Such great info. Oh, you're welcome. You are welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad you're on my calendar. So you guys you get your coaching calls, turn in your weekly journal pages and check-in sheet once a week. If you don't, that's on you. That's, I get you. I get it. It's busy. But if you do decide to send me something, just give me the most recent 7 days. I don't need a month's worth of stuff because what you ate 25 days ago really doesn't matter. And I just want to see what you're doing currently. The last 7 days would be plenty. But get those sent off to me, but also take advantage of your coaching calls. If you have any issues, or it's travel or life events or weddings or something coming up where you're not sure how to handle it, that's what those coaching calls are for. If you're struggling with something personally that you don't want to share in a group call, that's what those are for. But you can also use these group calls to bring your questions about the food, about the supplements, about the program, just general questions. You don't have to turn your camera on, but it's nice for me to not just see a completely black screen. So thank you to those of you who have your camera on. And I know that some of you are at work or having lunch or whatever. So I understand, but if you can, it's very nice. And you guys get to know each other, and I think it makes for a really nice community. Anybody else? Going once?
Hey, Tammy,
Yes.
Cynthia. I noticed when you were talking about the liver, a lot of the symptoms of the liver, fatty liver, is the same symptoms as the thyroid problems. Because I just went through the thyroid, but luckily I didn't have to take thyroid medicine. But I
Mhm.
had every one of these symptoms when I thought it was thyroid. Now, as far as my liver being fatty, I don't know. But
It's
anyway,
pretty asymptomatic, just like if you have heart disease, it's asymptomatic until you have the heart attack. Um,
yeah,
but there's testing for that. Thyroid can have thinning hair and a
yes,
swollen face. What else? Fatigue as well, depression as well. By the way, if you find yourself angry or easily triggered and just like screaming at everybody on traffic, that could be a liver issue. But depression also comes with thyroid. So you're right, they are very, very similar.
yes,
And
they are.
if the liver's jacked up, it messes up the hormones, the other hormones in the body. So the liver is an organ, and then the thyroid and the adrenals and the insulin and the estrogen and the cortisol, those are all hormones. But when the liver is jacked up, it messes up all the other hormones. So that's kind of the foundation. If we can get the liver right, it might help regulate a lot of these other hormones.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for sharing that, because I agree with you. That's very valid. Someone's asking in chat, how do I get into the group to find the playbacks? You go to drinfantino.club. Wonder if I can't really share my screen at this point. Let me share my screen. Shoot. Yeah, so I would say it's Dr. Infantino, but it's just DRINFANTINO.club. That's the group, or the Facebook group. Have you been in the Facebook group? I load them up there too. Or have we done onboarding? It just says Alicia, so I don't know. I have several Alicias. I'll show you there if you haven't done onboarding yet, or get a one-on-one with me and I can share my screen and show you how to get in if that's. Take it easy, Andrea. Thanks for joining. So Alicia, just book a one-on-one with me if that might be the better way to go over that. Let's let's see. Hold on, let me go here. I got it, I got it, I got it. So I'll share my screen here. So it looks like this. This is the group. That's not the Facebook group. So on this left, so there's this category of gut health. You're going to find today's, once it gets converted and I load it up, it'll take a couple hours to do that. I'll load it right up in here, but you can go check out the other past ones if there's a topic you really want to learn about. And then you can ask your questions here. Just bring your questions rather than use one of your 3 coaching calls. If you just have a question, other people will see it. So if it's super personal, book the coaching call. But if it's just, hey, can I eat pickles kind of a thing? Or if you guys are coaching clients, text it to me. I'll quickly answer you that way. Oh, she said she's in. Good. So you found it. Awesome. All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining today. Thank you for your questions and your participations, and congratulations to all of you who had some wins and were willing to share them. I'm super excited for you on that. So with that, I will say happy Wednesday. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next call. Bye for now.